I've got a 2003 Civic that comes into my shop twice a year, every year, like clockwork. 342,000 miles on the original engine. Never opened. The owner is a retired teacher, not a car guy, not a mechanic. And when I ask him what he does differently, he always gives me the same answer. He says he just follows the routine. Welcome back to Honda Decoded. I'm Mike. 25 years in this shop. And I can tell you the difference between a Honda that dies at 150,000 miles and one that goes 300,000 isn't luck, and it isn't which car got the better engine on the assembly line. It's a routine. Specific set of habits that high-mileage Honda owners follow, most of them without even consciously thinking about it, while the owners whose cars fall apart early are doing the same thing. Oil change, dashboard light, done. Today I'm walking you through the 12 habits that separate the Hondas that reach 300,000 miles from the ones that don't. Some of these you already know, some you don't. And a few of them are the difference between a repair bill you never see coming and a Honda that outlasts your mortgage. Let's get into it. Point 1. Change oil early. Not just on time, the most important habit, and the one most people get wrong in the subtlest way. It's not that they skip oil changes, it's that they trust the maintenance minder completely and never think about it again. Most drivers aren't operating in the conditions Honda's algorithm is optimized for. Short trips, cold starts, stop-and-go traffic, hot climates, all of these wear oil down faster than the minder accounts for. Every high-mileage Honda owner I've ever serviced changes their oil every 5,000 miles or 6 months, whichever comes first, regardless of what the dashboard says. Full synthetic every time. And they replace the filter every single time too, because clean oil through a dirty filter is still dirty oil within a few hundred miles. Point 2. Transmission fell on a real schedule. Honda transmissions are strong, but they are not forgiving of neglect. Degraded fluid drops shift quality and accelerates internal wear, quietly, with no warning symptoms until the damage is already done. High-mileage owners do regular drain and fill services instead of waiting for something to feel wrong. The key word is drain and fill, not flush. A simple fluid exchange is the safer approach for most Honda transmissions, and the fluid type is non-negotiable. Honda spec fluid for your specific transmission. The wrong fluid in a Honda CVT or automatic creates problems that cost far more than the service itself. I've seen a $30 fluid decision turn into a $4,000 transmission job. If your Honda is past 100,000 miles and you're not sure when the transmission fluid was last changed, subscribe. This channel will keep giving you exactly this kind of breakdown every week. Point 3. Coolant is a consumable, a permanent. Coolant is the most ignored fluid in most cars, and in Hondas it causes a slow, specific kind of damage that most owners never connect to the coolant until it's too late. Over time, coolant loses its corrosion inhibitors and goes acidic. Acidic coolant attacks seals, hoses, radiator components, and aluminum engine surfaces, silently over years with no dashboard warning. High-mileage owners replace coolant every 5 years or around 60,000 miles depending on the model. They also never mix coolant formulas without confirmed compatibility. pH test strip costs $8 and tells you in 30 seconds whether your coolant's chemistry is still protecting anything for. Timing belt surface is not M-belt if your Honda uses a timing belt, and many older Civics, Accords, CR-Vs, and Pilots do. This is the single most expensive mistake you can make by waiting too long. A worn timing belt can fail without any warning, and on an interference engine that means bent valves, damaged pistons, and a repair bill that can write off the car entirely. High-mileage Honda owners treat timing belt service as a scheduled appointment, not an emergency response. And when the belt comes off, they replace the water pump, tensioner, and idler pulleys at the same time. The labor is already open. Doing it once instead of twice saves money and prevents a separate failure from the same area a year later. If you're not sure whether your Honda has a timing belt or a timing chain, or when it was last done, subscribe, because that's exactly the kind of question Honda Decoded answers every week. Point 5. Use the right spark plugs. Honda engines are more particular about spark plugs than most owners realize. And this is one of those areas where cheap and close enough genuinely backfires. Wrong plug type, wrong heat range, or wrong gap causes misfires, rough idle, poor fuel economy, and hard starts. Symptoms that look like something expensive is wrong when the real fix is a $30 set of plugs. High-mileage owners replace plugs at the correct interval using OEM-quality iridium plugs, no substitutions. On an engine meant to run 300,000 miles, every combustion event matters over the long haul. Point 6. Keep the airflow clean. An engine is fundamentally an air pump. A clogged air filter restricts breathing, hurts fuel economy, and makes the engine work harder for the same output. On turbocharged Hondas, a dirty filter also starves the turbo of the air it needs under boost. Replacing the engine air filter on schedule is one of the cheapest, fastest maintenance tasks on any Honda. Cabin air filter doesn't affect engine longevity directly, but a car with fresh cabin filtration feels maintained, and a Honda that feels maintained gets maintained. Point 7. Refrig brake fluid every 3 years. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air every single day your car sits parked. As moisture content climbs, the fluid's boiling point drops and internal corrosion begins in brake lines, calipers, and ABS components. The symptoms don't show up immediately. They show up years later as a spongy pedal, a seized caliper, or a failed ABS module that costs $400 to fix. High-mileage Honda owners replace brake fluid every 3 years regardless of mileage. Brake fluid test strip costs $10. That's the investment before a $70 flush that protects every brake component on the car. 7 habits in, and not one of these costs more than a few dollars done right. Subscribe so the rest of this list lands in your feed every single week. Point 8. Watch the small compliments. The Hondas that go 300,000 miles are owned by people who don't wait for things to break. They watch for things that are about to break. Battery terminals corroding. Serpentine belt starting to crack along the edges. OPCV valve getting sticky. Rear differential fluid on AWD models going dark. None of these are dramatic failures on their own. All of them become expensive if nobody notices them. 10-minute visual inspection every 5,000 miles catches the majority of these before they become tow truck calls. Most of the major repairs I see started with something small that nobody looked at for too long. 9. Don't gamble on critical parts. There is a version of being frugal that saves money, and a version that costs more. High-mileage Honda owners know the difference. OEM parts or proven aftermarket equivalents for anything that touches engine health, transmission behavior, braking or cooling, filters, plugs, belts, brake components, fluids. The goal is not to overspend on everything. The goal is to never have the wrong part fail at the wrong time on the wrong component. Cheap oil filter that bypasses internally at 80,000 miles costs far more than the $3 difference between it and the OEM filter. That's the math high-mileage owners run every time they're at the parts counter. Point 10. Driving away that matches the engine's warm-up state. This is the habit most people never think about because it happens before the drive even starts. High-mileage Honda owners don't rev a cold engine. They give the oil 60 to 90 seconds to circulate and the metal to begin expanding before they ask for anything harder than gentle acceleration. At cold startup, the oil is thick, clearances are tight, and every hard load event does disproportionate wear. Beyond startup, smooth acceleration, consistent braking, no hard launches. Each habit individually seems negligible. Over 300,000 miles, they add up to dramatically less wear on every moving part in the drivetrain compared to a car that's been pushed hard from day 111. Check for recalls and surface bulletins. This one most owners don't think of as maintenance, but it functions exactly like it. Honda issues recall repairs at no cost to the owner and publishes technical service bulletins that address known issues before they become failures. Owner who checks for open recalls handles them for free. An owner who ignores them chases the same symptom for months and eventually pays for it out of pocket. Checking the NHTSA database for your VIN takes 2 minutes. Some high-mileage Honda owners I know have walked away with free engine software updates, free gasket replacements, and fixed transmission behavior because they checked. The ones who didn't check paid for the same repairs later. Port 12. Keep every surface record, the unglamorous habit that ties everything else together. A maintenance log, physical notebook, or a simple phone folder, doesn't matter, tells you exactly what was done, when, and what's due next. Prevents missed services, speeds up diagnostics when something does go wrong, and adds real dollar value when you sell the car. A Honda with a complete service history sells faster and at a higher price than an identical car with an absent record. More practically, when something develops at 200,000 miles, a complete log tells you immediately what can be ruled out and what hasn't been done yet. That's the difference between a 2-hour diagnostic and a 5-minute one. Honest disclosure, these 12 habits reflect patterns I've seen across hundreds of high-mileage Hondas over 25 years in this shop, not a guarantee of any specific outcome. Engine longevity depends on manufacturing variation, driving conditions, climate, and individual factors no maintenance routine can fully control. What it can do is dramatically shift the odds in your favor compared to the alternative. The Hondas that reach 300,000 miles are not special cars. They're ordinary cars owned by people who treat maintenance as a system instead of a reaction. Fresh oil, correct fluids, quality parts, smooth driving habits, a record of everything done, consistently, year after year, without waiting for something to go wrong first. That retired teacher with the 342,000-mile Civic doesn't know more about engines than most Honda owners. He just never skips the routine. That's the whole secret. Drop your Honda model and current mileage in the comments. I want to see how far the Honda Decoded community is pushing these cars when the routine actually gets followed. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what it actually takes to reach 300,000 miles, subscribe now. Honda Decoded puts this kind of breakdown in your feed every single week. Thanks for watching. Build the routine, stick to it, and your Honda will take care of you for the long haul.